1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to this very special day that we've all been looking forward to for a long time. My name is Leanne Martin, and I'm the retired Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences here at Western. However, my start here at Western was over 26 years ago. So during my recruitment visit here in 1991 to join what was known then as the Department of Physical Education, Health and Recreation, I was a bit disappointed in the facility in which I would teach. But I was told there was going to be a new building for the department, a new teaching space, a new learning space for students, and at the time I was a freshly minted PhD, so I still believed everything that people said. So when I was here for the recruitment visit, not only did I fall in love with the people here, I knew it was just a matter of time before Carver would be rebuilt, and that was a great recruiting tool because it worked. After about 10 years here and many faculty recruitments in the department, I said we should stop making that promise to faculty when we're trying to lure them to Western. In the quarter of the century that I worked at Western, I served as a faculty member, a program head, a department chair, associate dean, and ultimately dean. I was on Carver renovation planning committees, visioning committees, steering committees, and design committees. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, mostly tears, into this building. Former athletic director Linda Goodrich and I wanted to see the ribbon cut in a new Carver before we left Western. After a couple of decades, we simply wanted to see the ribbon cut after we left this earth. I promised that if Carver was ever funded, I would do cartwheels in Red Square. I did. So the decision was made by the state to fund, the fences went up and the faculty and the staff were moved out, so I did cartwheels in Red Square and my husband Joel videotaped it. I realized that making a promise to perform something 20 years prior to having to perform it does not contribute to good cartwheel form, but I did it anyway. Another silly promise I made was that I would teach in a new Carver before I died. I've been fully invested in this renovation for 25 years, looking forward to it, anticipating it, eager for it. So what did I do right before it was slated to open? I retired. But our department chairperson, Keith Russell, was kind enough to offer me a faculty position in the Department of Health and Human Development. So here I am, 26 years later, teaching in a brand new Carver. This fulfills a promise made to me 26 years ago, and a promise I made to myself. So this building was originally constructed in 1935, and that's when Western had less than 3,000 students. In 1960, there was an addition that included this section of the building. It was completed in 1960, so we had an old Carver, which was Jim D and the red brick, and we had new Carver. The newer area was called New Carver for 55 years. But the real New Carver academic facility is what we see today. There are noticeable differences, and who better to describe those than the faculty who have now had the chance to work in both. So here are some comparisons from faculty. Old Carver. I recall a day having to set up 16 buckets, actually trash cans, on the floor of Gym D while I was teaching because the rain was leaking through the roof onto the floor. New Carver. I don't care about the weather report anymore. Old Carver, having to unplug the treadmill in the lab so the metabolic cart could be used, or running extension cords outside the lab, down the hall, and around the corner during lab classes. New Carver, no illegal fire hazards. Old Carver, faculty having to yell, "Microwave!" before using it so that the other faculty in the hallway could close out any documents or emails before the fuse blew. New Carver, we don't give a flip if anyone heats up their coffee. Old Carver, due to the age of the building, an earthquake rating, which essentially means how well it will hold up during a seismic event, Carver had an earthquake rating of 5 out of 100. New Carver, this is where I'm going to run to in case of an earthquake. Old Carver, window jacked open 4 inches, because that's all it would open because it was painted that way, providing much needed relief during winter from a radiant heater that would not turn off, making my office 87.8 degrees. New Carver, 65.8 degrees. Old Carver, teaching assistants didn't have any place to hold office hours, so a small storage closet without any computer access or electricity became her office. New Carver, the teaching assistant's office may have one of the best views in the whole darn building. And finally, Old Carver, one faculty member yelling to others, "Did you see that?" when a rat ran down the hallway of our offices. New Carver, lots of people asking, "Can you believe that?" as they point out something amazing in this facility. And while there are many, many more examples, we simply cannot put into words how grateful we are to have a safe, fully accessible space for learning and teaching. And there are so many bathrooms, it's amazing. Yes. No more lines of 50 people at graduation. We're all here to celebrate this important milestone and the impact it will have on our campus. So thank you all for being here. It's now my great honor to introduce to the podium Western's president, Dr. Sabah Randhawa.
Did the old Carver did this when you moved that? Thank you, Leanne, certainly for acting as MC for today's program and for the many years of dedicated service and leadership to Western. And congratulations on having the opportunity to teach in the new Carver. It's just wonderful. Well, Uzma and I are really delighted to have you all here for this very special occasion. You know, we celebrate the renewal of a very special building. Carver is one of the most iconic structures on our campus with a history that goes back to a time when Western was Western Washington State College in 1930s or 1960s, as Leanne was talking about. As she mentioned, at the time the enrollment was less than a third of what it is today, and the total cost of construction in 1961 was $1.04 million. Times have certainly changed over the past few decades. Carver truly is an all-purpose academic, athletic, and community event facility. In light of its use and importance to Western's academic mission and service to the community, the renovation of Carver couldn't have been at a better time. Additional classroom and lab space will allow the high-demand programs in health and human development to serve more students and produce more graduates ready to contribute to Washington's workforce. Critical seismic upgrades will ensure that Carver will be a safe and stable place for the campus community and the greater Bellingham community to gather and to celebrate their accomplishments for many years to come. And with new energy conservation features in the construction, the new Carver is not only beautiful, but conforms to our Western values around sustainability as well. We could not have been more thrilled with the outcome. As Leanne mentioned, this has been a day at least 25 years in the making, and many folks at Western no doubt thought the day would never come. For those at Western who patiently advocated for this project, both here on campus and in Olympia, I want to say thank you for your patience, your persistence, and your support. I would especially like to acknowledge the work of our government relations team, including past Vice President for University Relations, Steve Swan, past Director of Government Relations, Sherry Berkey, and of course, President Bruce Shepard. I would like to give a special thank you to everyone who participated in the actual construction, and thank you for preserving and beautifully enhancing such a special facility for us. You have much to be proud of, and we are proud of as well. This building also belongs to all of us as citizens of Washington State, and would not have been possible without the vision and leadership of our elected representatives. I would like to acknowledge Senator Kevin Ranker and Representative Winston Byers for working so hard on behalf of Western and Olympia. Thank you very much. You know, projects like these are not only good for higher education, they are good for the local economy too. I mentioned the original Carver construction price tag was a little over $1 million. The legislature approved $70 million for the funding of this project. This generated around 200 jobs directly related to construction. That's a win for Washington, for our county, and for the institution. I would like to close by noting that what goes on in this building, indeed the teaching and learning that occurs all over this campus, is also directed towards the people of Washington State. At the center of our work is advancing student success and applying our strengths to serve the needs of Washington. Thanks to everyone who contributed to this project, we are now in an even more empowered position to accomplish our goals. Thank you so very much for being here this afternoon.
Thank you, Sabah. And as we all know, this project could not have been completed without critical funding from our state government. So we're pleased to have with us today elected officials who were instrumental in securing funding for the Carver renovation and making this project a reality. I'd first like to welcome Senator Kevin Ranker from the 40th District.
It is absolutely wonderful to be here today celebrating this renovation of this incredible building. It was in 2015-17 budget, we do a biennial budget in Washington State that I and Vincent and some others were finally able to get this money into the budget. I've been in the Senate for 9 years, and typically people come in and they have a capital budget request and it's somewhere in the $3 to $5 million range, and that's big. You know, if somebody comes in asking for $5 million, I'm like, whoa, okay, we gotta talk. I'll never forget when Bruce Shepard came in and said, I need $77 million. I kind of sat there for a minute, but I remembered something that I'll get to that's very important, and I'll close with those comments, and it's about my predecessor, Senator Harriet Spinell. So the work that went into this amazing building that we're in today as our new incredible president, can we just give him a round of applause for everything he's doing? Now my records show that there were 200 direct, there were almost 1,000 indirect jobs. So not only do we have a facility that's going to create the next champions, be they the next women's soccer team or the next women's rowing team, the women Vikings kick butt. Not only are the champions coming out of here, but we created a whole bunch of jobs right here in our community with those state funds. And I look forward to championing additional capital projects right here on our university campus when we pass our capital budget, which will happen in the near future, I promise. But it is critical that we recognize that this is not only a benefit for our local student body and for the university, but for the community, as the president said. Another couple points that I am very proud of. One, that this will be a LEED Silver or more certified building. So we are putting our money and our projects where our mouth is. We are walking our own talk. We are making sure that the new buildings we construct are energy efficient so that we do the right thing for our communities and for the environment. I'm also very proud that this building has, I think it's 6 gender-neutral bathrooms, making sure that all community members who come to this great institution are welcome and feel that way and see it. Now, I actually just, somebody sent me a link. There was a rally, campaign rally that was on Western's campus about 3 days before, no, it was the day before my election to the Senate. And Harriet Spinell introduced me. Harriet Spinell, as all of you know, was an incredible leader from this community who did so very much. She served in the Washington State Senate for over 2 decades, moved her way up all the way to being the caucus chair, which is the second most powerful position in the Washington State Senate. And she led with her heart, and she was motivated by kindness, and she loved this university. And she told me 2 things at this rally, here at Western. And at first she got up and she introduced me, and as she was about to walk away, she said, "And tomorrow, you better win this, because if you don't," and I thought she was gonna hit me. But that's not Harriet. But she told me two things when we both got off stage that day, and I never forgot. She said, "Carver, Blanchard." She said, "These are two things I've worked on my entire career in the Washington State Senate and not been able to accomplish. And you had better accomplish them." And so I am extremely proud to be here today for Harriet. And I know she's watching us right now, and she is laughing and smiling and loving the fact that we have this incredible facility to celebrate. I want to close by saying that the next one on our list, we're going to finish in the next few months, I promise. We'll get Blanchard. Have a great day.
Thank you, Senator Ranker. Now I'm pleased to welcome State Representative Vincent Buys from the 42nd District.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here to help us celebrate this and help Western celebrate the grand reopening of this fabulous facility. I first of all want to start by saying Senator Erickson and Representative Van Werven, they send their regards. Representative Van Werven is actually down in Texas right now because her daughter is expecting another grandchild any day now. So she felt, the next generation who might come and grace this facility as well was a priority, but she sends her regards as well. When I joined the legislature about 7 years ago, Carver Gym was one of the first top priorities when it came to our capital budget. And as much and as long as everybody else has been working on it, that's been my entire legislative career. And when we were finally able to get that funding, it was extremely exciting because we didn't do that fight. It was not a fight in a bipartisan or a non-bipartisan way. We had the 40th district and we had the 42nd district both fighting very, very hard to get Western the funding that they needed for Carver Academic Facility. And oftentimes we hear, when we talk about Olympia or when we hear about Washington, D.C., we hear about the bipartisan ranker no offense to Senator Ranker, we hear about the bipartisan arguments that go on. This is something that we came together, we coalesced, and we created an effort to make sure that we had the funding here for Carver Academic Facility because we knew it was important. The difficult part was in convincing everybody else in the legislature about the importance of this. When they looked at it, when our capital budget chairs looked at it, they saw a gym. But we were able to convince them, and your staff and the members of your committees were able to come down to Olympia and convince those chairmen and women that it is important because this is not just a gym facility. This is an academic facility that will create our next kinesiologist programs, students, it will create our next great athletes, and it is an important to the core part of our community here at Western. And so with that bipartisan support, we were able to finally get this project funded. I remember coming here for the groundbreaking ceremony, and it was amazing just to see all the work that had already begun. The money had just started going out the door, and parts of the building were completely gone, or in the process of being gone, and thankfully in some of those regards that some of those buildings were being taken out. But to be able to come back here now today and to celebrate with you all, even in my short tenure of 7 years in the legislature, this great accomplishment is something I'm very excited for, and I look forward to many more of these projects coming forward into our communities. And on behalf of the 42nd Legislative District, both Senator Erickson, Representative Van Werven, and myself, congratulations to President Rondalla. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the Board of Directors, but most importantly, congratulations to the students who are going to grace the halls of this and learn and become our next leaders in Washington State and in Whatcom County. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Representative Buys. The difference that a renovated Carver makes for our students and our academic programs is truly indescribable. From where we were to where we are today is truly transformational for our students and faculty. So I'm pleased at this time to welcome to the podium Western's Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Brent Carvajal.
Thank you and good afternoon. I know many of you are concerned that I'll talk for too long. You might be surprised. Thank you very much, Leanne, and honestly, there are very few people who have invested as much time, effort, patience, and perseverance to get us to this moment and occasion than have you. So I want to reiterate the appreciation that others have expressed for your dedication to really all things Carver. Knowing that my remarks would come a ways down the list, and very appropriately so, I wondered how I would be able to contribute something to today's collective narrative that would not be redundant or in some way repetitive. Thus, I've decided to take as personal an approach as might be appropriate, one that will help construct a sense of just how monumentally important this project is. I appreciate for that reason your indulgence. This building has been the home to outstanding athletics teams and to exciting championship competition at regional and national levels. I'm personally proud to have been a small part of that, having served as faculty athletics representative for a number of years. I'm here today representing the academic side of the house. However, so I want to point out that just as importantly, and this is something that we often struggled to communicate in Olympia, Carver houses some of Western's fastest growing, highest demand academic majors, those in the Department of Health and Human Development. Far from being just a gym, Carver is truly an all-purpose academic and community event facility. Even prior to the renovation, for example, it was the most heavily utilized building on Western's campus, with over 250 classes being taught to more than 7,600 students each year. On a typical day, everything from classes to athletics events to student life activities are going on from 8 in the morning until 10 or 11 at night. Carver is the largest interior assembly place in Whatcom County and hosts numerous community events in addition to 6 commencement ceremonies for Western and several high school graduations. I won't take up your time with a detailed accounting of how badly this building needed renovation. My personal experience with what was then the Department of Physical Education, Health and Recreation is that the poor quality teaching and learning spaces were detrimentally affecting everything from morale to pedagogy, from program development to communication. Just as quality athletics venue and appropriate training spaces foster quality intercollegiate athletics experiences and a sense of pride, intentionally designed and appropriately equipped teaching learning spaces advance student success, inspire innovation, and facilitate rather than inhibit. These remarks were to be brief, so I'll close. Before I do, though, I will acknowledge that I will always harbor fond memories of certain aspects of what Leanne described as old Carver. The 6 a.m. football team drug testing in the dark and cold locker rooms. The calls from faculty members about chunks of ceiling falling on them as they attempted to remove supplies from cramped, overstuffed storage closets. I remember all those things fondly, just as I appreciate all that is going to be available to us here in the new Carver. So it's with heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to all involved in the generation of this project, the advocacy for it, the funding approvals, the planning, the construction, everything, that I join in this wonderful celebration of something so meritorious, so important, and so beneficial to our communities. I think you will hear from everybody here today that we're only here due to the efforts of just an absolute huge army of people, Western and elsewhere. So if I have any message here, it is that this facility is a combination resource. I know athletics is extremely proud and thrilled to be here. Academics is as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brent. As you've heard people talk about today, athletics does play a very important role in the collegiate experience for many of our students. And the name Carver is synonymous with Western's rich athletic history. So please welcome with me Director of Athletics Steve Card and Athletics Historian Paul Madison.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the student athletes, coaches, and staff of our athletic department, I want to welcome you to the new Carver Gym. it's great to be home. This facility will completely change the landscape of Western athletics. Western athletics is a program which has grown into one of the perennial powerhouse programs in the country. I believe we will see unprecedented success in our future, primarily due to the enhancements made to Carver. But it's not like we're starting from scratch. This past year, despite being away from home, we experienced one of the most successful years in program history. We celebrated many successes on the field of play, including winning 2 team national championships that were just mentioned a little bit earlier in women's soccer and women's rowing, which is a first in program history. We also achieved a national championship, an individual national championship in women's javelin. In addition, we won several regional and conference championships. All of this while our student athletes achieved an 85% graduation rate and a 90% academic success rate. Our amazing group of coaches, who many of them are in the audience today, have done a tremendous job in identifying the brightest and the best student athletes to represent WWU. However, the recruiting battles are tough, and every school wants those same student athletes. There are many contributing factors that are in recruiting, and facilities are a major component in a student athlete's decision as to where they're going to school. With Carver, we anticipate that we will win many of those recruiting battles, and WWU athletics will continue on its successful trajectory. We are all excited also about the impact that this facility will have on our general student body. Carver, as it was said, is the most active facility on campus. Our students in the Health and Human Development Department and our student body will enjoy the enhancements of this facility for generations to come. Western Washington University is a world-class institution, and Carver Gym now reflects that reputation. I mentioned the word home several times during this, and it is my pleasure to introduce somebody that has spent half a century calling this their home, our former sports information director and our athletics historian, Paul Madison.
Thank you, Steve. Now well into its 2nd century of operation, there are just a few personalities from the early years of Western Washington University who are still remembered. Sam Carver is one of those. In the fall of 1910, at the age of 22, Sam, who did not like to go by the given name of Sanford, enrolled at then Bellingham State Normal School. He was a quiet, unassuming young man with high moral standards and values. He also was an outstanding athlete, excelling in basketball and gymnastics. It was no accident that his granddaughter, Cleo, placed 6th at the U.S. Olympic trials for women's gymnastics in 1968. Besides his athletic prowess, Sam also gained a reputation being a kind and humble gentleman, having the ability to work well with others. The normal school administration recognized those qualities, and upon his graduation in 1913, hired Carver as a full-time physical education teacher and athletics coach. For his first 10 years in that role, Carver didn't have to look far to find the rest of his full-time staff. He was it. Besides his teaching duties, Sam coached all of the school's athletic teams, including football, basketball, track and field, baseball, tennis, and later golf. It is no wonder that Carver became known as the father of Western athletics and a coach for all seasons, the title of a tribute booklet put together by his granddaughter, Julie Callahan. Sam was particularly well known for his track coaching, being named to the Helms Foundation NAIA National Track and Field Hall of Fame. Carver was meticulously well organized. He was punctual, refined, assertive, and attentive. When the original physical education building was completed on campus in 1936, his office had a roll-top desk with pencils sharpened and everything in its place. Carver was described by those closest to him as calm, soft-spoken, intense, kind, humble, organized, possessing a good sense of humor, energetic, of high moral character, and a real gentleman in every sense of the word. Sam was quiet and didn't speak unless he had something to say. He never raised his voice, but when he said something, that was the way it was going to be. In 1924, Sam took a one-year leave of absence to obtain his bachelor's degree in education and physical education at Stanford University and studied coaching under the legendary Pop Gun. In 1939, Carver received a master's degree from the University of Iowa. Sam and wife Jessie raised 2 children in a small house that was located about where the Viking Union building is located today. Carver retired in 1955, following 42 years at then Western Washington College of Education. In addition to the PE building was completed in 1961, and on March 30, 1962, it was dedicated and named Carver Gymnasium. Sam passed away on May 27, 1965. 3 years later, he was among the first 7 inductees into the Western Athletics Hall of Fame. Western was very blessed to have had Sam Carver in the formative stages of both its physical education and athletics departments. He dedicated his life to those programs and to the students and athletes of Western. His involvement and how he conducted himself had an effect that is still resonating. But most important was the immeasurable positive influence he had upon thousands of young people as a coach and teacher. On my right, thanks to the work of master craftsman and Western Hall of Famer Rob Visser, is a piece of the recently replaced Carver Gym floor, along with the original letters from the front entrance of Old Carver spelling out Carver Gymnasium. It is Western's gift to the Carver family. The Carver Academic Facility would be hard-pressed to bear the name of a finer individual. I'd like to invite the entire Carver family who are here with us today, including his 4 grandchildren, to stand and be recognized. What a legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen Paul, and thank you to the Carver family for joining us today. The most direct beneficiary of this new space clearly are our students, and I'm proud to introduce to you one of Western's very best, both academically and athletically. Anna Parody is a senior from Federal Way. She's majoring in kinesiology with a specialization in pre-physical therapy and minoring in sports psychology. In her spare time, she competes in athletics. She was the 2017 GNAC Indoor Pole Vault Champion and finished 7th at Nationals. She holds the school record for both the indoor and outdoor pole vault. She was named to the NCAA Division II Track and Field All-Academic Team and is an athletic All-American. Please welcome superstar Anna Parody.
Thank you, Leanne. I feel so honored to have been chosen to speak for you today on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Development, WW Athletics, and the students of Western. It has been an absolute privilege to be involved in both of these departments in my time here. I was so excited when I heard Carver was going to be renovated. I just prayed the renovation would be on time so I could actually get to use the new building before graduating. When I was in middle school, they were in the process of building a brand new school. They built it right behind the old school. However, it took so long to finish that I was out of middle school before it was completed. My little brother got to benefit from the new school, and I was so jealous. When telling my mom about all the cool new things I get to benefit from in the new Carver, she said, "You finally get the new building." And I know I am not the only person who thinks, finally. It was time for a new building. However, it did not come without sacrifices. The challenges of not having Carver for those 2 long years affected many people in the Health and Human Development Department and in athletics. For me, this meant weightlifting was now in a multi-purpose room on the ridge, which wasn't as bad as we all thought it would be until we tried to fit the whole track team in there. And this meant studying and learning in the basement lab of the Environmental Science Building, a lab that has no windows, leaving you blinded when you finally go outside to what was hopefully somewhat sunny weather. It also meant meeting with professors in their interim offices, in which some can only be described as supply closets that had to be cleaned out for the temporary move. It meant having to travel to Whatcom Community College for basketball or volleyball games, which meant less attendance at the games and a little less school spirit. The renovation also affected many of the students on campus, especially those with classrooms in Bond Hall. Those windows could not keep out the sound of the construction and often impacted the professors' ability to teach with the noise. However, I feel that there was a silver lining to these challenges. The silver lining being that they have made us feel more grateful and appreciative of the new space we get to again call our own. A space that is home to new classrooms and new labs. Being a student athlete, I have to juggle a lot of responsibilities, and now that most of my classes, lab sections, study areas, and workouts will all be in Carver, my life has been made so much simpler. It is also home to the Freshens food spot, which is essential for those days where I can't seem to wake up in time to make my own lunch. Furthermore, we have access to state-of-the-art research equipment, including the DEXA scanner, a high-speed motion capture camera system, force platforms that can measure forces in 3D, and a new electromagnetic tracking system used to measure joint movements, to name a few. Exposure and use of the new equipment will enrich our education and prepare us for future exposure of similar equipment in grad school or in our future careers. It is also a space with new offices and study spaces. Study spaces with natural light shining through the large windows, I might add, and offices with those really cool sit-to-stand desks. And it is a space with beautiful athletic facilities, including this court, where we get to go and cheer on our Viking athletic teams. And most importantly, it is a space that reflects the caliber we want to compete, train, and learn in. When I get asked what Western means to me, the first word I think of is excellence. Even without Carver, we are more than capable of being excellent. That ability has been proven to me time and time again by my wonderful coaches and professors who put in hours for us, no matter where their offices were, no matter where the labs were, or no matter where or how nice the weight room was. But now we have this beautiful facility to learn in, train in, and compete in that truly represents and shows others how excellent we can be. It is also a space that puts Western even more on the map of being an excellent school to go to, because now we have a premier athletic facility and a premier academic facility. One of my mottos for pole vault performance is look good, feel good, do good. And I feel like this motto can be applied to the larger picture of the new Carver facility. Look good. I mean, look at how beautiful this building is. Feel good. Doesn't it feel really awesome to get to tell people you get to train, learn, or work in this beautiful building? And finally, do good. I hope the new Carver academic facility will inspire each and every person that gets to work, train, and learn in here to be excellent each and every day. I hope it inspires the entire campus of students and staff to be excellent, knowing that they have a community that cares about the spaces that they work and learn in. And I hope it inspires you, like Western kinesiology and athletics have inspired me, to be excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. At this time, I'd like to invite President Rendawa, Trustee Sharp, Senator Ranker, Representative Byes, Steve Card, and Brent Carbajal for the official ribbon cutting. The building is now open for you to walk through and explore. There are refreshments out the hallway on the doors to my left. There are student athletes on hand to show you their open spaces and their places where they can work out. The academic labs on the 3rd floor are open with faculty and students, and there are elevators and stairs throughout the building, and there are many, many bathrooms. So we hope you can see it all to understand just why we're so excited to be in this brand new Carver. So thank you all for coming and celebrating with us.